Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to do a quick recap on how marathon training is going so far. Today is August 5th, and so that means I'm starting week 5 of this 12-week build. And I'll specifically do a deep dive into week 4 and talk about how that went. The footage that you're seeing here is just some clips from my upper body workout on Thursday, and then towards the end of the video, that's me finishing up a threshold run, and I'll show the Garmin data towards the end as well if you are interested in the track workout that I did that day. For anyone who's new to the channel, first, welcome. Second, I'm just going to give a brief overview of my current goals. So as I said, I'm currently in week 5 of a 12-week marathon build. And in the video, I put the word marathon in quotes because really it's a mock marathon. At the end of this 12-week build, I'm not going to run actual 26.2 distance. I'm going to do a 22-mile workout that's supposed to simulate the speed / work that it would take to do a real marathon. And I've done this 22-mile workout before, and really it's just a way for me to gauge my level of fitness in relation to doing a marathon. And so week 1 was 61 miles worth of volume, week 2 was 70, week 3 was 70, and week 4 last week was also 70. And that's been the biggest change in volume for any prep that I've done. I've been running marathons for 2 or 3 years now, and I'm surprised that my body's able to keep up. I'll definitely attribute my ability to maintain this volume to stretching, and that would be the biggest one. In prior builds, I didn't emphasize stretching too much. I really just tried to do like a 30-minute stretching or mobility routine once a week on Sundays. But in this build, I'm stretching for at least 20 minutes every day before I go out on my run. And so my total warm-up for every run takes about 30 minutes, which has been highly beneficial for me. Now, last week, which was week 4, I could definitely feel the fatigue hitting my body, although I am happy that I was able to hit the overall mileage. I had to shift some of the miles around. And so, for example, on Wednesday, I was supposed to hit 14 miles, and I only ended up hitting 10 miles, and I moved 4 of those miles to Friday, which is usually a 2-mile day, really just a recovery day, so that I can more easily manage the 23 miles, which is my long run, the next day on Saturday. So instead, I ended up doing 6 miles on Friday, and then I definitely paid for it on that 23-mile run on Saturday. And so again, I can tell that my body is feeling this volume, although I am still happy with my performance so far. And just to move forward a little bit, today I had a 10-mile tempo run, which is 3 miles easy, 6 miles at marathon pace or faster, and then a 1-mile cool down. And these tempo and threshold runs, as well as my long runs, are ways for me to gauge how my body is doing. They're more of a micro metric instead of just looking at my weekly volume every single week, because obviously it takes a lot longer to get a gauge to see how I'm trending with my moving average. But today, it definitely was difficult, but I was able to hit those times, and so I'm grateful for my body, and I think that I'm still going to be able to maintain this volume. I don't anticipate going more than 70 miles per week. Week 5 this week, another 70 miles, and then I have a deload next week, which is in the middle of the build, and then I'll have another 5 weeks of building. 5 weeks? Yeah, another 5 weeks of building, and then week 12 is going to be a taper going into that 22-mile workout. So I don't anticipate going over 70 miles. Really, the push that I'm going to be making, not next week, but over those next 5 weeks of building, is going to be just running faster on those Monday and Thursday tempo and threshold runs. Now, a topic that I do want to touch on in relation to my performance last week is auto-regulation, or I guess in layman's terms, it's really just how hard are you going to be on yourself, and how much grace are you going to give yourself when it comes to your fitness or really just your goals in life. And so, I set out last week with the primary goal of hitting 70 miles worth of volume, which I did accomplish, but then I also had to ensure that I did my 2 workouts and that I did everything I was supposed to do each day. Now, something that I didn't mention is that I also, on Monday, I was supposed to do a tempo run, which is the workout that I did today, but I didn't. I changed that to 10 miles easy because I just wasn't feeling it. And so those were 2, examples where I strayed off the path and I strayed off of my plan. And now I have to have this conversation with myself about, well, what does that mean? Does that mean that I'm completely undisciplined and that I'm so inconsistent and that I'm not going to be able to get the amount of gains that I need or that I want? And there's kind of 2 errors on both sides of how you approach how disciplined and hard on yourself you are. And people who are frequent gym goers, understand this, that if you push yourself too hard in the gym or in any athletic feat, you do run the risk of injury and you run the risk of burnout. It all depends on your goals, but you can only push yourself so hard. And so you'll get the maximum amount of gains, but you run the risk of injuring or burning out. And then there's the other side of that where, well, if you're not pushing yourself hard enough, then you're leaving gains on the table, but you minimize the risk of injury and burning out. And so for me, I kind of have the philosophy of making the latter error where I don't push myself as hard because for a few reasons. One, I just value the error of getting injured more than I value getting all the gains I can possibly get. I'm not in a bodybuilding competition. I don't have a race on the calendar. And even if I did have a race on the calendar, I'm racing myself. Like, I'm trying to beat my own time. And I don't have a particular timeline to accomplish these goals. I have an overall goal of running a marathon in under 2 hours and 50 minutes, but I don't have to do that next month or, by the end of this year. And so I do believe that I'm still maintaining my even more overall macro goal of just trying to be healthy and fit and trying to be someone that my family and friends and my children, when I one day have children, trying to be someone that they admire and that they look up to. But I also understand that, I'm going to set my plan and I'm going to deviate from that plan. And while there is some negative emotion that comes from that, I don't let it overtake me. And so it's interesting to try to wrestle with yourself as you're, especially those people who are highly conscientious and very dutiful. When you set your own goals, sometimes you set a goal that is maybe too far for you, or as you're trying to attain that goal, there are some external factors that get in the way, and it's difficult to know, okay, did I set a goal that was too much for me? Or if I didn't attain this goal, was it because of me or was it because of something else? And I'm also 100%, I can't say 100%, I also understand the extreme ownership notion, from Jocko Willink. I think that's super great. I think it's motivating. There also is this fundamental attribution error where, to the degree that you think that everything is your fault, that can blind you to the reality of various circumstances and, context-based factors that may be in play. And so, not to say, I'm definitely not saying I have the answers here, but in my experience, just based on my current goals and my philosophy, I'm okay to hit some of those macro goals while missing some of those micro goals. Now, I can't miss all of those micro goals all of the time, every single day. Then there's definitely a problem. But within the context of this marathon build, for example, having hit 70 miles last week, although I had to shift some of the mileage around and change some of the miles, some of the fast ones to slow ones, I still feel confident in my ability. I still feel like I'm getting fit, and I still feel ready to tackle this week, given the plan that I've set for myself. So that's where I'm at, guys. Week 5 coming up. So far, feeling pretty good. Looking forward to a deload week next week, which is just going to be about 40 miles worth of volume spread Monday through Saturday. And then I am going to do a 1 mile 4 time. And my goal is to get under 5 minutes. And that would be the first time in my life that I've ever done that. So I'll keep you all posted. Thanks for your time and attention. And I'll see you guys in the next video.